highest public approval among state agencies. Military reform, reform which is about economics, it's anti-monopoly reform, we can call, I don't know how, antitrust reform. It means that we are not looking to companies buying each other and having that or this market share. And we are only looking government not to help them to build artificially through government legal or illegal activity or government officials' activity, the controlling position. So the ongoing reforms, or some of them done, from the bottom, the education, we have 100% school choice system. So all that's publicly funded school choice system when we are providing money to student and student is making decision where to go, or his parents when he's small. So this is both for schools, high schools, and for universities. And the same type of reforms when we are funding not an institution, but we are funding a citizen, is for healthcare reform, which there is two big parts. One is financing reform, which means that going from very strange quasi-European style system to a system when we are covering through health insurance in private companies the most needless or needed population. And another is that we have a plan to restructure our hospital sector, not to have practically any state-owned and state-run hospital, to reduce number of beds and to have all of them privately owned and competing with each other. So the results, some of the results are good, some of the results I am very happy. For example, the export is growing very high rate. Investments are different types of investments. I mean, foreign direct portfolio, etc. They are growing with very high rate. GDP is growing in both terms. And there was also many other reforms which are quoted here. This is not just not to show you what, but just to show how many, of course. And of course we have many other things to be done, and there is only some of them, like forest and natural resources go to real ownership, more deep school reform, having now only 7% of Georgian students, I mean high and below school students, they are going to private schools. We want to have in nearest years at least 25% going to private schools. Complete having zero import duties, currency reform, and the pension reform, which is, I think, one of the most important things. So, thank you. And at the end, I want to say, of course, it's not everything not so rosy. Of course, we have political bets. We have public unrest. November. We have new presidential elections. So president stepped down, and we have new elections, and the same president win in beginning of January. We have new parliamentary elections next Wednesday. But we are going forward. For example, we make the last big financial reforms between presidential election and the upcoming parliamentary election. It was not an easy thing, but it was done. And I think that we have a chance to be proud of the result in one hand. And another is that to continue these things, because only if we continue these things we can achieve really high rate of growth and really can achieve what all we want. We want to see Georgia as a country which is among developed nations not developing nations for 70 years. Yeah, we can be developing nation maybe 20 years, but we want in 30 years to be developed nation. So that's what we want. That's why we are working. Once more, thank you.
Thanks very much, Kakha. It really is impressive, the number of reforms and the quality of the reforms that have been done in such a short period of time in Georgia. I don't think I can think of any reforming country that has done so much in such a short period of time. I should also mention that Kakha is not just an advocate of more and greater freedoms in Georgia, but he has long been an advocate of individual liberty in the region around the world. And the same can be said of our colleague Andrei Illarionov, who's a senior fellow here at the Cato Institute. Before coming to the Cato Institute, he was the chief economic advisor of President Putin and has long been involved in promoting reforms in Russia. He was a member of the initial reform team after the fall of communism there, and has importantly been a student of economic reforms and of transition economies, and I think one of the most sophisticated observers of the challenges of moving from state socialism to a free market and a free society, and he will have some comments about that regarding Georgia. Please help me welcome Andrei.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I will start from with my personal note of the event that happened almost exactly 4 years ago, in late May, year 2004, when I was sitting in the office in Kremlin where both Jan and Kakha have been, and I got a call from Kakha saying that Kakha did talk to the Georgian president and is going to accept his invitation to move from Russia to Georgia to be a minister on economic reform, in charge of economic reform. I probably would not have enough words to explain what kind of shock I got with that call. Probably that was a really gravest shock during my almost 6-year tenure as the economic advisor to the Russian president. Because probably not everybody knows, still remembers that Kakha spent probably maybe a couple of decades of his adult life, almost all his adult life, not in Georgia, but in Moscow. He's a biologist by training, and in late 80s he studied his business, first of all in some kind of biological stuff, and after that moved to some areas, and happened to be very, very successful business person in Russia. As a very successful business person, he joined the Russian Union of Industrialists and Entrepreneurs and became very visible and very vocal person, not only in the union, but in the whole country. We are talking right now about the achievements that he, with his colleagues, have made in Georgia. But before that, Kakha did participate very actively in economic reform process and economic reform public debate in Russia. Such reforms like deregulation, tax reduction, and especially law on the central bank and currency reform in Russia, all of these has happened, could not happen without incredible support and contribution from Kakha. And I would like to say that the current state of convertibility of the Russian ruble is really the clear result and the clear some kind of contribution of anyone more than Kakha Bendukidze in Russia, not in Georgia. And what has been achieved and what is praised to be success of the Russian authorities, including the current Russian authorities, it actually has been done by somebody else. So that is why, it's not only the contribution in the reform process, but also how powerful was his voice with a very special and very touching sense of humor, both Russian and Georgian, and a mixture of both this humor for Russia, and how important and how attractive it was in Russia for some kind of 15 years from 1992 to